When I was younger, I remember my grandfather telling me that to end my own life is murder. He explained that my life wasn't my own to take. While I was confused and not fully understanding what that meant, it actually got me through some really dark seasons of my life that I don't think I would have come out of otherwise. Now, if this is uncomfortable for you to think about, hear me out. All week we've been looking at the sixth commandment given by God to his people: you must not murder. The last 2 days we've looked at the intentionality and reasoning behind ending a life and why God gave this command in the first place. And you might be thinking, well, this is one command I have covered. I've never taken a life. What if that wasn't necessarily true? In this past weekend's message from our Series 10, Pastor Jim laid out different ways the concept of intentionally ending a life can happen. The first one we usually think of is homicide. There's also the intentional death of babies and children through infanticide and mid to late term abortion. And then there's 2 forms of taking one's own life that are actually considered murder: assisted and intentional. To assist someone in taking their own life is also known as active euthanasia. The word comes from 2 Greek words, eu meaning good and thantos meaning death. And it's because of this, it's often seen as an act of compassion or mercy. Let's talk about the intentional ending of one's own life. I appreciate how Pastor Jim put this. When someone knowingly, purposefully, consciously, intentionally takes their own life, whether to avoid consequences or to somehow try to hurt others or to elicit sympathy as a result of some kind of failure in their life they simply don't want to face, to escape financial problems, it is committing murder. Now, hear me when I say that this doesn't apply to those who face very real medical cases of mental illness and overwhelming depression. The taking of one's life in the midst of severe mental struggles and battles is not intentional, but rather the deep, tragic result of a deep medical, psychological disorder. But I'm not pulling this punch. To assist in the taking of or intentionally taking one's own life is every bit as much the ending of a human life as any other form, because it's not our life to take, nor our decision to make. To end a life because the quality of it doesn't measure up to our standards, or even what we assume other standards to be, is to reject the sanctity of that life. I know that this is a difficult idea to wrestle with. I promise I've been there. If this is something that you're confused about or struggling to wrap your head around, I highly encourage you to listen to yesterday's Devo or go back and listen to this past weekend's message on the Mech app or on Mech's YouTube to get a full picture of the heart behind this command.